4:30, we call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Bailey,
Here.
Commissioner Bunting,
Here.
Commissioner Gay,
Here.
Commissioner Saxon,
Here.
Commissioner Owen.
Here. Dave, if you'll join us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This, if you're gonna make a comment, Dave, you're our only, what do I want to say?
Agenda item.
Oh, that's right. You gotta do the agenda first. Pardon me.
Approve the agenda. Or
Motion by George, support by Steve to approve the agenda. All those,
You forgot C also on your.
oh, the invocation.
everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. This is being a little bit of a heathen to jump to public comment before the invocation.
Shame on you.
George, you want to give the invocation?
Go ahead, please. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just come to you today in this special meeting to ask that you would guide and direct us. For it's in His name we pray, amen.
No public comment.
Come,
By the way, Laura barged in here. I thought for sure she had something to say.
Laura, you got a comment? Okay.
Nice to see you, Laura.
Nice to see y'all. This is for David.
Okay,
It's not.
consideration for new business. Resolution. Should we read this?
I think
Okay,
we can.
Dave?
Oh, thank you again for holding this special meeting for me and working with me on the process. After last Tuesday's meeting, yes, last Tuesday's meeting, I can't remember what week we're on here anymore. Chris and I emailed the lawyer at Cole Storker and asked them to vet the resolution as written and get it back to us, hopefully by yesterday. They were very quick. They had it back to us Wednesday last week with their changes. I'm happy with those as they are presented to you. And I would ask that you approve this resolution so that the Gratiot County Central Dispatch can move forward, hopefully. And keep on track of getting the new items needed, such as the tower, the CAD, and the infrastructure needed for Central Dispatch to be successful as we move on the next 15, 20 years, hopefully.
Am I in there to get the officer's mobile CAD?
They have it. They have WebCat. They already have it.
True mobile CAD.
Uh,
The one we tried that didn't work.
oh, I don't know. I guess I'd have to see.
The ones they have CAD.
What do you want that for? But don't work.
Well, no, they have, trust me, they have ones that work. It's just, nobody wants to spend the money to get the ones that work.
Part of the infrastructure and change would be a new CAD system, yes, which is desperately needed. It was due
That's what I'm
last year.
hoping, when you get a new
Yes.
CAD. There needs to be Alma, St. Louis, Sheriff's Department. Everybody moves.
Plans for everything is everybody's gonna be standardized with the same equipment, working on the same programs so that we are all the same.
21st century would be great.
Yes, 21st century, they are now,
Further the way down. Be nice to step in.
yeah, they are coming out with cloud CADs, cloud services. So yes, we will be moving, as long as this is approved, to get into the 21st century and set us up for next gen 911. All those things.
Nobody wants to pay more taxes, but I guess it
So,
pretty much comes down, do you want 911 or don't you?
yeah, I know nobody wants it and I don't want to do it. However, the way that I looked at the budget and the way things are going and the prices of things, We just can't do anything else with the surcharge the way it is. It's not gonna go up. The states aren't gonna up it, the feds aren't gonna up it anytime soon. It's capped at $3 where we've been since 2018. And we can barely scrape
We're
by.
never gonna get, just the layout of our county, we're never gonna have an explosion in population to bring you more phones to
Yeah.
generate
Yeah,
income. It's just not gonna happen.
yeah, most 90% of people have cell phones. The days of landlines when it was really robust are gone. They are looking at things like watches and tablets and stuff, but again, those are things down the road. Right now, it's just the surcharge off of the phone systems. And with the phones is all we get. And then, some of the things like, others, people, Alma College, if they don't live here, their address isn't here, we don't get that money.
You'll get that.
Money goes back to where their home address is,
Yep.
but they're using our services when they call 911. So, yeah, it's a hefty list of things that have been needed, and it'll be a lot of projects as we move forward. Granted,
I mean, I think one important thing to note, there's no way to pull 1.2 million out of our budget, our general fund budget, to fund these things yearly. I mean, that's not practical. There's no way for that to happen. So this is the option that we have, is to try and get it.
same as local authorities, local authorities don't have the money to put into it either,
Nobody in this room probably hates paying taxes more than me, but this is one that I understand.
And we're not the only ones. Everybody in the state seems to be going through some type of turmoil when it comes to 911 fire and first responder services.
This will go on the ballot the first Tuesday in August,
Yes, sir. August 6th.
primary.
Primary.
How will it read? Like,
Just like this.
just like this?
All right, under number 1.
Ballot language.
For the purpose of funding essential 911 emergency services in Gratiot County to ensure the continued operation and enhancement of 911 services, telephone answering, and dispatch services within Gratiot County, including facilities, equipment, maintenance, and operating costs, shall the constitutional limitation on the total amount of taxes which may be assessed in 1 year upon all property within the county of Gratiot, Michigan, be increased by the rate of up to 0.6 of 1 mil or 60 cents per 1,000 of taxable value for a period of 6 years, 2024 through 2029.
Okay, and then if approved, that's not gonna be on the ballot, this last paragraph.
Yes.
Yep, that'd be on there too.
It'll be on.
If approved, then it's
Oh,
all part of it.
so, the city of St. Louis, Brownsville redevelopment of Gratiot County, cities of Alma, St. Louis, village of Ashley, and township of Elba. They'll get some money.
No,
I think they have, they can, but I don't think they do.
DDA area.
DDA area, is that what it is?
But you have to include that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
If they have a
Lawyer
DDA, we allow, through a vote every year to allow the DDAs and then to have a portion of those tax dollars that they collect back to them. That's what that's in there. Downtown Development Authority,
So,
right.
and then it's a simple yes, no,
Simple yes, no.
the,
Squares.
Okay,
More yeses than nos.
yes. Okay, then let's vote on her. It's,
I so move that we accept resolution number 24-321. The resolution for authorizing millage election for the Gratiot County Central Dispatch Authority, certifying ballot language as it's been presented now that it's been approved by the county's attorney.
or
motion by Steve, support by Tim to adopt the resolution. Be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey.
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
yes,
Commissioner Owens.
Yes. Sounds like unanimous.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Now it's on you to get this passed.
Yep.
Now it's on me. Oh, yeah, now the real work starts.
That's it, hey,
Royalty here now.
yeah. Okay, public comment.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Jerry and I are your state representative. Pardon me for not getting here earlier, just conflicts of schedules most of the time. It's not much to report new down in Lansing. The budget is a big topic. Pretty much all the other committees have been shut down until this coming week. We'll have some committee meetings, but until the budget in the House passed, Senate will be finishing that up this week, and then it'll go to conference committee. Things will get hashed out there. Still $80 billion budget. There's a lot of begging and borrowing from different departments to balance that. Details on that is yet to come out as to firm how they're doing that. My biggest concern of this is that there's a lot of boilerplate removal, meaning that the way the money is accounted for and spent can easily be shifted around from, not necessarily from one budget to the other, but the way it's moved it out, and say the ag budget could be shifted around a whole lot differently than what it was originally intended for, with some of the language that's removed, and that goes on through whether you're looking at Eagle, Laura, all of them, a lot of safety requirements or accountability requirements could possibly go away per recommendation of the governor. So that's a big concern for me. But like we got another or once it goes to conference, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks worth of discussion going on before that's settled. So we'll see if some of that boilerplate doesn't get placed back in there. So that way, at least we know where that money's going to and who's accountable for it. Policy wise, it's been pretty quiet right now. Not a whole lot's moving. They don't want to move anything controversial right now. Leadership doesn't, mainly because they want to be able to get out, and everybody wants to get back home and start the campaign season here. A lot of challenged districts, both in the primary and the general. So it's everybody wants to get home and start working the doors. So I don't expect anything really controversial to get moved forward until we get into November. So after that, I'll just ask questions or take questions.
I guess 3-pronged question. How long has this boilerplate been in our state budget?
It's been there for a long time, and it's always at the bottom of the budget as to how these line items are held accountable there. So removing that language really removes the legislature's authority to hold these departments accountable. And that's a big concern, because then the legislature's ability to bring these departments before them and ask them what's happening is really limited.
That's always concerning to me anytime they start talking about, if boilerplate has been built into something, there's a reason why it was built there. And it takes years to hammer it in there. And it's nothing to mess with as far as taking it apart, because the reason it's there.
Consequences.
Yes.
It has consequences. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Second,
Not church anymore.
solar, wind, this whole,
Well,
the vote that the count has gotten there so we can get this on the ballot. We should hear this week, shouldn't we? Whether or not we, the people, get the,
It's like June.
okay.
I think it's the end of this month, but I have to double check on that.
Anyhow. It's a huge concern
Yep.
in my district anyhow, because there's a huge power line that runs right through the whole damn thing, right on the edge of his, so, people are getting letters.
Mhm.
people wanting to cover up their farm ground with solar. Families are feuding over it because there's three siblings that own it now because mom and dad passed away, and somebody who lives in California and wants a check, and somebody who lives down the road from it don't want it because they got to look at it. And then there's people getting letters about underground storage for storage units for the power for
Yep.
solar that's concerning to people. Not only the landowners, some of them are kind of for it because it's huge money. It's the guy who lives next door that his house is next door, and then his grandchildren's house and his kid's house, and they're wondering about pollution underground and those sort of things that, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of talk about that. Just everybody's talking about green energy, green energy, but we can't feed ourselves, then we might want to worry. But
Exactly.
anyhow, and then the other thing is the state septic code.
Mhm.
That was a topic that I hear about a lot,
Mhm.
and I know that if I go with Tim up to the Northern Counties thing, we're gonna hear about it there as well, because it's a pretty hot topic. And George and I hear about it every month at the health department meeting as well. There's county's gonna end up owning a whole bunch of properties, and so is Isabella where you live, right? You're in Isabella. I mean, you start saying people gotta every 5 years. And then they're gonna all have to have these new improved systems when they have a system that works perfectly fine, that was built to specs when their house was built, or they had it updated. I mean, there's a lot of people in this county that can't afford it.
First of all, it's impossible to do it every 5 years.
Well, I would agree, but
Pay for it.
some fool can make this the rule, and
Pay for it, we do it.
the problem is the people who are gonna have to put in these $25,000 systems, and a lot of elderly people and people who just don't have income money, because, I mean, I dare say there isn't gonna be a place that they're gonna say, oh, a traditional system is gonna perk and you need to just update it. No, they're gonna want you to put in these new fangled systems, and people are not gonna be able to afford it. And they're not gonna pay for it, they're not gonna pay their taxes, and then pretty soon Gratiot County's gonna own a whole bunch of stuff that we don't, and then before we can sell it, we gotta put in a new system.
That's not making return on tax dollars.
No, it doesn't make sense, so.
That issue has gotten real quiet. They know,
Good thing, it needs to, you
Yes.
talk about something needs to fall under the carpet and go away, that's one.
they know that a one size fits all program is not gonna work in the state. And it's losing traction even in the urban areas or the southern part of the state where it's sort of sprung from. So I, at least until November, it's not up for discussion as far as I'm aware of. Going back to the solar, it's not only is it's simply the way the leaders down there were thinking that was the only way they're gonna meet their zero emissions goal, was to force the solar in and shut down or limit your gas-fired power plants. The state is already technically in a electrical deficit. You get into a season where it's high demands, whether it's heat in the winter or air conditioning in the summer. We are importing energy from out of state to keep us to keep us from having blackouts. So and these storage systems and other energy systems just don't have.
And who's talking about building one or two nuclear power plants that'll solve this whole problem for the decades to come?
There's a nuclear coalition getting together, working on it. They are gonna be opening up I forget the name of it. Palisades, they are gonna commission that.
Yep.
But there's a whole myriad of federal regulations before they can even talk these small solar or these small nuclear plants. And they are, and by no means the Palisades, it's a whole different setup.
Oh, absolutely.
And
The new style, small scale ones.
small scale ones, it's a whole different animal. Hard to explain. I haven't got my mind wrapped around it yet, but it's a whole different generation and far more efficient than Palisades ever was ever planned to be. That's still years off, and from what I understand. But, you know, I'm definitely for local control. I've already signed the petition. If you haven't, please take the time to. And hopefully we can get it on the ballot this fall, because I'm sure if it makes it onto the ballot, it's gonna take and bring back local control.
I agree.
My biggest issue is that either by stick or by carrot, these solar and wind projects are tilted against the farmer and against agriculture. And that's the reason why they're coming out and hitting the agriculture community, because they can.
No, I had somebody
They can-
sitting on our porch telling her she wanted to drink a glass of lemonade on our porch with her to talk to her about 270 acres of. It just
That-
irritates me that they're going,
Yeah.
all these year-old people dangling a carrot that they get
It's,
the money.
it's hard to turn down,
So,
and I can understand that, and private right or private property rights is foremost in my opinion. But we gotta develop, I think, this community here, along with Isabel, has done a good job of trying to come up with good regulations and guidelines to set up these operations, and I'd rather keep it local. And another concern of mine there is that if you remove the local input there, it also gives these developers for solar and wind less willingness to work with the community, provide some offsets where you do get some funding for roads and for the schools. Your concerns become secondary, and the community won't share in the profits or in what it's already provided for your community in Isabella. That's so, you know, it's just, it's working hard. People are talking about it. I heard it 3 different times on the radio again today. There are various people talking about it. And so we just got to get that on the ballot and then take back control.
I'm not opposed, you know, a lot of people say I'm not totally opposed. I want it to be regulated properly. If we're gonna have it here, I don't want somebody else from the state of Michigan coming up here and going, oh, because there's a power line right here, we're gonna go 3 miles and all the way across your county. Because there's people that live there that don't want it. And I respect that. The people who do, that's one thing, but you shouldn't be forced by the state of Michigan that you're gonna lose, you know, farms that have been owned by a family for 200 years.
Well, it also,
That shouldn't be.
and when you're
how this
competing,
happens.
when you're competing against the government or something that's tilted to favor a government policy, it's not fair to other competition there, you know, where maybe that land should be used for something else. It or best suit the community.
Yeah.
It just is not, it's certainly not a capitalist approach to development. So, any other questions?
Is anybody running against you in the primary?
Not in the primary. I thank people for their comfort and support that I've done a good enough job so far this year. My opponent in the general, I have not learned a whole lot about him. He didn't file until the last day. So I'm yet to learn, I'm yet to meet him there, but doesn't mean I'm gonna take this season of door knocking and community involvement lightly. So don't be afraid to ask me and be a part of the of input and listening to what your concerns are.
With our other half of our county being Graham Filler and he's done, who's gonna be running for his position?
I don't know the person on the Dem side there, but Tim, not Stone, Kelly, Tim Kelly,
Tim Kelly's on the Republican.
who had part of this district a few years ago there.
Yeah.
He's more known over in the Saginaw area there, very popular guy, very good legislature. I have the good fortune of having his legislative director working in my office there, and so I'm afraid I might lose her to him. In some type of fight later on, gets into office, but he's a very solid guy. I've met him on several different occasions, and I think he'll serve this community well.
Awesome.
The three of the five of us commissioners have done such an outstanding job that we have no opposition, primary or general.
It's a little.
That's my story and I'm sticking with it.
Good. Yep.
With the ARP funds, closing out, are there any local programs that are in jeopardy of not being funded as they have been in the past couple of years?
Part of the budget battle right now. There's a lot of social programs, your after school activities comes top of mind, and lunch programs, year-round lunch programs that was being funded by that. They're going to have to pick up funding from some other place. I've yet to see, as far as municipalities, our road funding is going to remain flat, which basically means with these days of inflation, we're going backwards. So don't expect any extra money coming into,
She'd say she was gonna fix the damn road, right?
so that's going to remain flat. The same thing with the cost sharing or the budget, what to expect from the state's probably going to remain flat is what I'm anticipating coming out of this budget. It's the education budget.
This year we'll start going again.
The education and health is where the biggest impact, I think that's going to be seen on there. Maybe we shouldn't have been spending money on those programs, even though they needed it, and using that money to shore up some of our infrastructure and water issues and getting those things fixed, where we could take and then turn around and start funding our healthcare and our education system with regular funds. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Anybody else have public comment? I'll adjourn 5 o'clock.